favorite moments, some of your favorite fan moments, like encounters with your fans?
Well, the first one here happened when I wasn't even expecting it. I was just at the hotel, and the woman who showed me my table for breakfast was like, "I'll have to bring my books for you tomorrow." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you know who I am, and you bring my books!" And it was so this like unexpected moment. And then the next moment, I was like, "Oh no, but I don't have any makeup on, and I just woke up, and this is so embarrassing." But so that was fun, just because it was not in a book context. It was just out of nowhere. So that was really great. And then finally getting to meet some of the people last night who I've been talking to online for years. That was really fun because it feels like you're meeting a friend that you haven't met before. It's like this weird thing where it's like you feel like you know them really well, and then to get to meet them in person for the first time was just very, very cool.
You're gonna meet more of them today.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Okay, I'm interested in this because I know that before you ended up becoming a writer, you wanted to become an actress.
Yes.
And your love for theater is so obvious, it shows up in your books.
Yeah, it keeps popping up in all the books. There's like some theater in there.
I need to know, what's your favorite play or musical?
Oh, that's such a hard question. Right now, my favorite musical is Hamilton. I'm obsessed with it. I'm so obsessed with it. There was a moment last year where someone wanted a playlist for me and was like, "Well, just tell me what you're listening to now." And all I listened to for the last 3 months was Hamilton. And I was like, I can't make a character playlist that's just Act 1 of Hamilton. I was like, that's a terrible idea. But it was all I was listening to. So Hamilton's definitely my favorite musical. And my favorite play, that's a hard one. It might be... it's probably Street Car Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. It's probably my favorite play, yeah.
Okay, we want to know about your writing rituals. Do you have any weird, like, specific font you have to use or time of day where you have to write?
I have a ritual with playlists, actually, where I need to sort of make the perfect writing playlist and be ready to go with it. And I'll spend, like, a lot of time, like, figuring out the songs and making the order, making sure it's good. And then I'll finish the playlist, be like, okay, here we go. And I'll turn it on, and then usually I get, like, one song in, and I'm like, this is too distracting, I need to write in silence. So I don't end up writing to it very much, but I think the act of, like, making it is, like, part of my warm-up to write, yeah. Or it's just procrastinating, like...
And how do you celebrate finishing a book?
Usually I sleep for a while. I'm usually so exhausted, and I'm not good with deadlines, as you guys who follow me on Twitter might know. So it's usually really late, and I've been sort of working around the clock to do it. And so I usually end up seeing a movie the next day, because that's like usually one of the things I don't allow myself to do when I'm like finishing a book. And so I always like sort of like sleeping really late and then waking up and like going to see a movie, because that feels like crazy freedom.
Who are your literary heroes?
One of them is definitely Sarah Dessen. I love her. I think she's amazing, and she was huge for me because when I first started reading YA, I was reading a lot of stuff like Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants or Meg Cabot's books, and which I loved. They're such good books, but there's always like something else to them. It's like Magical Pants or a girl finds out she's a princess. And Sarah Dessen's books were just about like a girl and a boy and her friends and her family in a summer, and that was what I wanted to write. And so it was like reading her books, it was like she gave me a permission slip, and it's like the stories you want to tell, you can tell. And so she was just a huge influence on me. And probably John Green as well, just because I sort of didn't realize what YA could be, and I was so dazzled by his writing and sort of the different forms his stuff would take. And I remember reading Abundance of Catherines with the footnotes, and I was just like, I didn't know you could do this. And so he was another sort of just, like, I thought the bar was here, and he was like, no, the bar is way up here. So those are probably the two biggest ones.
And do you think your life as an editor also plays a role in your life as a writer? Are you like easier to work with for your editors because you were an editor?
I think it's worse. I think it's worse because I know all the tricks. Like when he's like, it's due here, I'm like, no, it's not. I know. You can always find more days. Like I feel like it's like the worst because you see someone's been behind the curtain, so you know these things. And I like ask him. I know too much. But I do think it does help because on the other hand, I do know how it works, and so I'm not asking hopefully for unreasonable things, or I understand the process a little bit more. So I guess it's good and bad.
One of the many things I love about your books is how you cover everything from family, friendship, love in the same world. And the people in your books, they feel real. Is that something that you consciously make sure that there's focus on their family, there's focus on friendships, and there's focus on love? Like it's not always just love.
That's such a great question. Because when I started to write The Unexpected Everything, it was very conscious. I kind of looked back at the other books I'd written and realized that each of them focused on one thing. That Amy and Roger is really about the relationship between Amy and Roger. I mean, there's other characters, but they come and go. It's really about the two of them. Second Chance Summer is about family, and Since You've Been Gone is all about different kinds of friendship. And so I realized I'd kind of done three big themes for my first three books. And I decided for my fourth book that I wanted to write about all three of those things, all happening at the exact same time. Which is maybe why it's my longest book to date, I think. But I really wanted it to be an equal portion of family and friendship and love, and that none of these was in the background. That it's not like the family was like pushed to the side or the friends were kind of just, you saw them in like one scene. Just because that felt the most like life to me. I mean, I feel like things don't like stop while you fall in love or you're dealing with your friends. Everything's always happening kind of all at once. So it was a big challenge for The Unexpected Everything to sort of make sure everything was balanced and that the story was being driven sort of by all these three things. But I think hopefully I pulled it off, because it was my goal from the beginning to feel like you were saying, it's not about one thing, it's about all things.
So characters from your previous books somehow appear in your next books. Is that something that you really have fun with?
I have so much fun with it, and I love doing the cameos, and it's so good. And finally, I just put it on my website because people were like, "Where are they? Where are the cameos? Where are they?" And finally, I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna list them for you guys so you can find them." And people are now finding cameos that aren't in there. They're like, "Oh, isn't this person here?" And I'm like, "No. You're seeing things that aren't there." Because they all share a town in common. So I loved it in authors' books where you got to peek in on people, like in subsequent books, and it makes it feel like the universe is real and really big. And so this is the really cool thing. So I was able to do, I don't know if you guys caught this, there's an Unexpected Everything sort of hint in Since You've Been Gone. You guys make it up! Oh my gosh, you're so smart. So, because I knew I wanted like a fantasy series and Unexpected Everything, and as I was writing, I was like, wasn't there a fantasy series mentioned in Since You've Been Gone with Doug at the shoe rental counter? And lo and behold, there was. And so I was like, oh, Clark could have written the books that Doug at the shoe rental counter was obsessed with. And so that was really fun. And then people like then since read Unexpected Everything and then were reading Since You Were Gone, it's like, what is happening? So there is a little hint of my next book in the Unexpected Everything. So you guys aren't gonna know what it is till the next one comes out, but I was working on the Unexpected Everything. When I was finishing it, I already knew what my next book was, so I put a little thing in there. So you already got the hint about what the next book is, guys. Was that mean? I'm sorry. I feel like that was mean, you guys. I didn't mean to be mean, but hopefully it's exciting.
Okay, I have a question from Instagram, but I know the answer to the first one because the question is, was Frank Porter inspired by anyone real? Which people want, of course.
Yes.
The answer is no.
Well, I saw someone had a sign that they said, "Can I marry Frank Porter?" Did someone bring that here? Yes, you can. He's not really inspired by any one person. I'm so sorry. I wish there was a guy and I could give you his phone number and, he wasn't. He was sort of an amalgam of people plus stuff I just made up. But
And the next question is related to that from Blueberry Books. How do you create fictional boyfriends? Because all your fictional guys are swoon-worthy.
Yay! I think like writing the love interest is like my favorite part of the process. Like I love sort of thinking them up and who they are, and how they're gonna complement the heroine, and I just love it. I think it's so fun. And I myself never liked the like brooding bad boy. I was always like, I don't like that. That doesn't seem appealing to me. Because I really like guys who are funny, and I feel like brooding bad boys are never funny. They're taking themselves too seriously. So I feel like none of my guys are brooding bad boys. So I like when people are like, I love your book boyfriends. And I'm like, yes, see, you don't need to be a brooding bad boy. You can be a nice guy. So I have a lot of fun doing the love interest. And I think, guys, I'm sorry, I think Clark might be my favorite. I know. feelings about different people, but I don't know, I really liked Clark a lot.
Can I say I'm obsessed with Lucian?
You're the second person who is. There was
I will marry him today
No.
if he existed.
no someone I did an interview with them, and they were
She's
like,
my friend.
They were like,
We're gonna fight over
they
it.
were like Team Lucian, and they were like, Amy should have left Roger. Like she should have just stayed in Kentucky, and she really wanted like a Lucian spin-off novel.
No, actually, you can have Roger, so we can have Lucian.
Exactly.
I want him to make a topiary for me.